Did you know that there's a legend about a treasure so bright that sailors claimed it made entire storms glow golden? A treasure so powerful that ancient kings sent entire fleets to find it, only for all of them to vanish without a trace? And the most shocking part, you're about to hear the closest thing humanity has ever had to real evidence that this treasure actually existed. This is the story of the colossal sun treasure of Aurelia, a mythical artifact said to control tides, redirect storms, and bend sunlight itself. If that sounds impossible, stay with me. Because the deeper we go, the more the line between myth and history begins to blur. And trust me, what waits near the end of this story is something most historians still refuse to talk about. Let's begin. The ancient land of Aurelia was said to lie somewhere between the modern Indian Ocean and the scattered islands of Polynesia. Not a kingdom, but a radiant civilization, one obsessed with the sun. While the rest of the world still worshipped fire, Aurelians were already mastering light. Legends say they built vast towers that captured sunlight and focused it like a blade. They carved symbols of spirals and beams into temples made of pale sandstone. But above all, they guarded one sacred object, the heart of the sun. It wasn't gold, it wasn't crystal. It was something else, a material warmer than metal, harder than diamond, and glowing even in complete darkness. Priests said it was a fragment of the day stolen from the sky, and whether that's true or not, every culture that encountered them feared its power. And then, Aurelia disappeared. Not slowly, not in pieces, but in one single night. Their temples collapsed. Their shores sank. Their sun towers were swallowed whole. Only one thing was said to survive, the heart of the sun, sinking deeper than any diver could follow, deeper than any empire could recover. Lost beneath the waves for millennia. But the ocean never hides something forever. The first hint that the treasure might be real appeared in 1923, during an expedition near the submerged volcanic ridges west of Fiji. A team led by marine geologist Thomas Rayner discovered unusual coral formations, spirals, perfect circles, and ridge patterns that didn't match any natural growth. At first, they assumed it was coincidence. Nature creates strange shapes. But one carving was impossible to dismiss. A 12-pointed sun. The exact symbol described in 3 separate Aurelian myths. The divers retrieved small fragments embedded in the coral, smooth pieces resembling melted glass, yet incredibly warm to the touch. Rayner kept the fragments in a sealed case, and according to his journal, they glowed faintly at night, like breathing embers. Most people dismissed his claim as exaggeration, until 1931, when he mysteriously disappeared, along with all the samples. But the journals remained, and those journals would later spark the greatest treasure search of the century. Fast forward to 1978. A young oceanographer named Lena Halberg stumbled upon Rayner's notes in a university archive. She became obsessed with the idea that Aurelia was not merely a story. Her reasoning was simple. If the heart of the sun generated any form of energy, even something we don't yet understand, it would leave behind measurable traces. So Halberg organized a small, underfunded expedition and scanned areas of the ocean floor described by Rayner. What she found stunned her team. A series of straight lines, evenly spaced, carved into bedrock almost 700 meters underwater. Nature doesn't carve straight lines, especially not in geometric grids. Even more shocking, the sonar equipment recorded abnormal heat signatures directly beneath the grid, as if something warm was buried under a mountain of collapsed ruins. When Halberg presented her findings, she was told to stop the research due to safety concerns. Her funding was cut almost instantly, but she didn't stop. She simply went quiet. And her notes, well, they tell a different story from the one she told her superiors. Her last sentence written before she vanished from academia was chilling. The heat source is not geological. It pulses, like a heartbeat. Before we continue, if legends, ancient mysteries, and forgotten civilizations fascinate you the way they fascinate me, consider subscribing. I share stories that dig into the deepest secrets history tries to hide, and I promise, the ones coming next are even stranger than this. Now, let's return to the ocean. Because things are about to get darker. In 1999, freediver Matteo Anaru had an encounter that still scares him to talk about. He was exploring underwater caverns near Tonga when he saw something he described as a shimmer, like sunlight bending underwater when no sunlight should reach. He swam toward it. The temperature rose. Not gradually, suddenly, as if he had crossed an invisible boundary. The water around him brightened, turning gold. And then he saw a massive stone wall covered in carvings of beams, circles, and wandering lines, all identical to the coral symbols found decades earlier. But what he noticed next nearly stopped his heart. The wall wasn't still. It vibrated, as if something behind it was humming. Alive. He reached for it, and the moment his hand touched the stone, everything turned white. When he regained consciousness, he was on a fishing boat, coughing seawater, with no memory of how he resurfaced. Doctors diagnosed him with severe burns on his palm, but the burn mark wasn't random. It was a perfect 12-pointed sun. Anaru never went diving again. And to this day, he refuses to speak the treasure's name. In 2008, astrophysicist Haru Ishida proposed a theory that shocked the academic world. His claim, the heart of the sun might not be man-made. He believed it could be a fragment of a hyperdense celestial body, a shattered comet or star core that fell to Earth thousands of years ago. If true, the glowing, self-healing material would make perfect sense. Aurelia didn't create the heart. They discovered it. And they built their civilization around it. Ishida suggested that the artifact emitted constant energy, enough to warm surrounding waters and distort light. This would explain Martea's experience, the heat pulses Lena recorded, and the warm fragments Raina found. But here's the part most people miss. If a fragment of a star really did land on Earth, it would be unimaginably powerful, possibly unstable. Maybe that's why Aurelia sank. Not because of a natural disaster, but because their sun heart triggered something catastrophic. A chain reaction. A collapse. A death pulse. And the treasure fell with them. In 2022, a deep-sea exploration drone belonging to a private research company captured footage that may be the closest humanity has ever come to seeing the treasure. At 812 meters below sea level, the drone recorded a shimmering field of golden particles drifting upward like dust in a sunbeam. But there was no light source, no volcanic activity, nothing that could explain the glow. When the drone approached, its sensors malfunctioned, compass spinning, temperature rising by 14 degrees in seconds. And then something massive appeared in the darkness. A structure. Round. Layered. Almost like a colossal, broken sphere split open by pressure or impact. Inside it, a glow, faint but rhythmic. Exactly like Lena Halberg described. Moments later, the drone's video feed cut out. The company that owned the footage released only a few seconds publicly. The rest was classified. But those few seconds, they were enough. Enough to show a 12-pointed symbol carved into the surface of the sphere. The exact symbol burned into Anaru's hand. The same symbol carved into the coral. The same symbol Raina found glowing in his samples. The symbol of Aurelia. So where does this leave us? We have ancient carvings identical across multiple sites. Coral growth fused with unnatural material. Heat pulses detected under collapsed structures. A diver with a burn mark matching ancient symbolism. A modern drone capturing a glowing spherical ruin. And a repeating pulse. Slow, steady, impossible. Is the heart of the sun still active? Still beating? Still waiting? Many believe the treasure is not just a relic, but a living artifact, a fragment of something cosmic that continues to breathe beneath the ocean. And if that's true, retrieving it could be the most dangerous thing humanity ever attempts. Because if Aurelia fell trying to control it, what makes us think we'd survive touching it? The ocean has held this secret for thousands of years. But secrets never stay buried forever. If you want to hear more hidden histories, forbidden discoveries, and legends with very real evidence behind them, consider subscribing. There are many more stories waiting beneath the surface, and some of them are even darker than this one. Until next time, keep your eyes open. The deeper the water, the brighter the truth.